Oh, we are live! How are we, lads? Come on, the footy! The footy spot! Guys, subscribe to the channel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! The Cowboys win it! Woo! All right, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm Nick from Australia. Welcome to the round 2 tips for the 2022 NRL season. Round 1 was outstanding. We had a lot of great games over the weekend, but now we get into round number 2. It's going to be a great round of footy. So many good games to look forward to. But before I get into my tips for round 2, make sure you guys go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And turn notification bells on. Different location for my tipping video this afternoon. But, hey, it's good to see. And the show goes on. But hope you guys are all well on this Tuesday afternoon. It is 5:41 p.m. And I'm looking forward to getting into round 2 of the NRL. It's going to be a great round of footy. And also, before I get into my tips, I just want to mention as well that on Saturday, I will be heading up to the Titans versus Warriors game up at Seabar Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. I'll be there. I'll be meeting up with Warriors and NRL fanatics. ROOSTERS and BRONCOS will be there as well. It's going to be a really good time. So if you're going to the Titans Warriors game on Saturday and you happen to see me, stop by, say hello, and yeah, I'll be happy to meet some of you guys, whoever's going up to the Gold Coast and New Zealand game on Saturday. But without further ado, let's get into the round 2 tips, lads. So without further ado, round 2 of the NRL kicks off on Thursday night down there at Amy Park in Melbourne. It is the Melbourne Storm up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Storm are favourites for this game hit at $1.40. The Rabbitohs at $3. Very good odds for the Bunnies. Let's have a look at the teams. I haven't really seen the teams this afternoon. I only saw the Cowboys one. So obviously, Brendan Smith, Christian Welch, and George Jennings are all out. So Dean Aramaira comes into the wing for George Jennings. Harry Grant returns a dummy half for the Melbourne Storm. And Nelson, Asala Solomon, and Jesse Bromwich are back. Well, they're obviously in the front row for Melbourne with, I believe, a debutant for Melbourne. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Alex McDonald is on the bench for the Melbourne Storm. As for the Bunnies, well, they welcome back Latrell Mitchell. Big inclusion there. Liam Knight's also in the reserves. He might be a chance on playing. This is going to be a very interesting game, this one. Melbourne last week were not great. They did well to get the job done over the Tigers, but with all due respect, it was only the West Tigers. As for the Bunnies, they were quite poor against Brisbane. But Latrell Mitchell being back in the side obviously will add that extra spark. And Souths are a 10 to 12 point better side when Latrell Mitchell is playing. So this is going to be a good game. I reckon this is going to be a really close game on Thursday night. I know a lot of people are going to say Melbourne by 20 to 30 points, but I reckon we're going to get a fairly tight game. So I'm actually going to go Melbourne. I think Melbourne will win. It's in Melbourne. They don't lose very often down there, and it's their first game there in quite some time as well. So I'm going to go Melbourne by 12. I think it'll be close for a while. I think Melbourne will score a late trial, something to make it a 12-point game. So I'm going to go in the Melbourne Storm here to beat the Bunnies. I reckon the Melbourne Storm will win. I'll go with a scoreline of 26 points to 14. I'm going to go first try scorer to be Xavier Coates, and anytime try scorer, I reckon Alex Johnson will bag a try as well. Melbourne to beat the Bunnies by 12 on Thursday night football. Let's go to Friday night football now, and the first game on Friday night kicks off at 6 o'clock down there at Nostrada Jubilee Stadium. It is the Dragons up against the Panthers. Both teams were victorious in round number 1. The odds for the game here, Penrith $1.25 favourites, St George at $4. Obviously, Penrith are the reigning premiers, and the Dragons, on the other hand, well, trying to improve and trying to be a top 8 side, I guess you could say. Now, the Dragons last week, they were very good against the Warriors. They did well to get the job done there. The Panthers, on the other hand, they were very clinical against Manly. down there at Penrith. The Dragons, obviously, no Aaron Woods. Woods is out with a hamstring injury, so Francis Moller comes into the starting side, with George Burgess making his Dragons debut off the bench. Tarek Sims is also in the reserve, so he might be a chance on playing, depending on what Anthony Griffin wants to do. As for Penrith, no Moses Leota, so Spencer Linu goes into the starting side, and it looks like Matt Eisenhuth returns to the bench as well for Penrith. Dragons and Panthers. Now, look, if this game was in round one, I probably would have said Penrith by about 20 to 30 points. Watching the Dragons last week, I thought they were very impressive. I think this is going to be a closer game than what people think. Everyone's going to say Penrith by a lot, but I think we're going to get a pretty close game here on Friday night. So I'm going to go the Panthers by 8. I'm going to go with a score. I'm going to go with a scoreline of let's go 26 points to 18 in favour of Penrith. I think the Dragons attack and their spark will be able to score a couple of tries against Penrith. I know Manly couldn't score much against them, but I think the Dragons, they've got a lot of exciting players. I think they can find a way to score some points. So I'm going to go the Panthers by 8, 26 points to 18. I'm going to go first try scorer. I'm actually going to go Macquarie Ravalawa to score the first try. And for the Panthers, I reckon Stephen Crichton will bag a try at any time. Panthers to beat the Dragons by 8 points on Friday night. Should be a really exciting game, that one. Now let's go to the main game on the Friday night. I think it's the game of the round. I know both teams were dreadful in round one, but it's the Sydney Roosters up against the Manly Warringah Seagulls. This game's being played at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Roosters $1.80, Manly at $2. Seeing if both teams made any changes or not. I haven't seen the team list for either side yet, actually. Roosters, it looks like they're unchanged from last week, although Hargraves is named to start. As for the Seagulls, Dylan Walker's back. He goes to the bench, which is very interesting. Dylan Walker's back, which is a pretty big inclusion for Manly. Dylan Walker's back. Everything else for Manly looks to be the same. Andrew Davey could be a late inclusion, potentially, but I don't think he will be playing. Kevin Nagama's still not in. If I was the Roosters, I would have went Momorowski in the centers and Billy Smith on the wing. But I'll tell you what, I think this is going to be a really tight game. I don't know which way this game's going to go. And you know what? I'm going to make a prediction right now. This game on Friday night between the Roosters and the Seagulls, I reckon it might go to Golden Point. I really do. But I'm going to tip the Roosters. Roosters by 1 in Golden Point. I just feel Roosters losing back-to-back games at the SCG. It's highly unlikely to happen. But Manly, on the other hand, with the Trbojevic brothers and DCE and Saab and Garrick and all these sort of players, I mean, anything's possible. I think this game will go straight down to the wire. I'm going to go the Roosters by 1. I'm going to go with the scoreline of the Roosters 19 points to 18. I reckon it'll go to Golden Point, and I reckon Luke Keary will kick the field goal to win the game in Golden Point. Roosters by 1 on Friday night. I reckon it will be the game of the round. Roosters and Manly, really looking forward to it. Now, let's move on to Super Saturday. First game at 3 o'clock. Like I said before, fellas, I will be at this game on Saturday afternoon. Titans and Warriors, I'll be there in attendance. Should be a very exciting game. Titans and Warriors, 3 o'clock kickoff up there at Seabus Super Stadium. Titans, $1.35 or $1.40 favourites here for the Gold Coast. The Warriors, on the other hand, $3.10. Really good price there for the New Zealand Warriors. Let's have a look at the team list real quick. Titans, any changes? Brimson's back. He's at 5'8", which is a big inclusion there. Will Smith goes to the bench, which means Tanner Boyd drops out of the side. As for the Warriors, looks like Ash Taylor will make his Warriors debut. Who else is in? Sean Johnson's ruled out, obviously, so Taylor goes to the halves. Tenny Lesniak is out, so Adam Pompey comes, or Jesse Alvarez goes in the centers, and Adam Pompey goes to the wing, which would be quite interesting as well. Sorry, guys, I've just been a little bit interrupted here, so bear with me. It's all good. Yeah, look, this is a weird game, isn't it? Titans and Warriors. The Titans, they were very good against the Eels, and they just fell short. The Warriors last week were good without being great, but Ash Taylor, Sean Johnson's out. Taylor comes in. It's such a massive downgrade. So, look, I just can't see the Warriors winning here. I know Matt Lodge is back, and I know they made a few changes, but Ben Manock-Basila being dropped as well, I find a bit ridiculous as well. So, look, I'm actually going to tip the Titans here. I reckon the Titans win this game by about 6 points. I reckon it'll be a high-scoring game up there at Seabus Super Stadium. So, I'm going to go the Titans, and I'm going to go the Titans by 6. I'm going to go with a scoreline of I'm going to go with a scoreline of 28 points to 22. I reckon first try scorer is going to be Jaden Campbell. Anytime try scorer, I reckon Adam Pompey will score on the wing. And also, I forgot to mention as well, guys, in the last game, Roosters and Manly, I reckon first try scorer in that game will be Angus Crichton. Anytime will be Jason Saab. Just so I'll throw that in there, so I don't get bloody abused about missing that. But Titans Warriors, I'm going to go the Titans by 6, and I reckon it'll be a really close game on Saturday afternoon. Let's go to the other game on Saturday night, which is at 5:30 at PointsBet Stadium there at the Shire. The Cronulla Southland Sharks up against the Parramatta Eels. This is going to be a good game, this one. I reckon this is probably the second best game of the round. The Eels are favourites at $1.65 here. Cronulla at $2.35. Very good odds there for the Sharks. The Sharks last week, they had Canberra beat. They come back from 18-6 down. They had Canberra beat and they just blew it. Last 2 minutes, they just couldn't get the job done. But Sharks, I believe they're unchanged. I believe they are. Yep, no changes. Although I reckon McGuinness, named in the reserves, and Connor Tracy, they could both be a chance on playing. Everything else is the same. As for Parramatta, no Ryan Madison, big blow there. So Oregon Kafusi goes to lock. No Sean Russell. So Wagga Blake goes to the wing. Tom Opacek goes into the centres because he scored 4 tries in New South Wales Cup. So he might have a big game. I doubt it, though. It's off Tom Opacek. What do you expect? And then Nathan Brown goes to the bench. Well, Cronulla versus Parramatta. It's the Sharks' first home game at Shark Park in quite some time. I'll tell you what. Fuck it. The Sharks are my specials of the weekend. I reckon the Sharks at $2.35 are the specials of the round. So, in my opinion, if you're having a punt, get on the Sharks. I reckon they'll win. And I don't reckon they'll just win. I reckon they'll win well. I really do. I reckon the Sharks down there in the Shire, first home game at the new rebuilt Shark Park. I think the Sharks are primed for this, and this is the game that they have been looking forward to the most. So this is going to be a good game. It should be a good game, but I reckon the Sharks win, and I reckon they're going to win really well. So I'm going to go the Sharks by 20. Sharks are my specials of the weekend. I'm going to go with a scoreline of Cronulla 30, Parramatta 10. Sharks to win 30 points to 10. I reckon first try scorer, I reckon Ronaldo Mulatalo will score first. Anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Teague Wilton. Sharks to win by 20. Sharks are my specials of the weekend. Looking forward to that game on Saturday night at 5:30. Now, let's go up to the next game of the round. Saturday night, 7:35 up there in Townsville. It is the Cowboys up against the Raiders. The Raiders, they are $1.55 favourites here. The Cowboys at $2.50. Cowboys were woeful last week. They were dreadful, the Cows. I was absolutely just shocked with the Cowboys last week. I was so disappointed with them. So Jermaine Turnell-Brown's out with an injury, so McLean will start in the front row with Cohen Hess. As for the everything else for the Cowboys is the same, except Griffin Neame will be on the bench as well. As for Canberra, no Brad Schneider, so Brad Schneider's a big blow for them. Matt Frawley goes to halfback. As for Canberra, no Hodgson. Tom Starling goes to dummy half as well. Some guy named Adam Treviland makes his debut for the Raiders. Look, I tipped the Cowboys last week and they let me down. I'm going to give them one more chance. The Cowboys have to win this. Canberra don't have a halfback. They have a dog shit halfback in Matt Frawley. The Cowboys, they have to win this. If the Cowboys don't win this game, Todd Payton should be sacked tomorrow. So I'm going to tip the Cowboys just because I support the club and I have a little bit of faith in them. It could go either way this game, but I'm going to go the Cowboys. Cowboys by 4. I'm going to go first try scorer to be Kyle Felt. Anytime try scorer, I reckon, will be Nick Kotrick. Cowboys by 4. I'll go with a scoreline of, I don't know, let's go 16 points to 12. Should be a really good game, this one. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Cowboys to win 16 points to 12 on the Saturday night. Now, let's go to Sunday football. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon at McDonald Jones Stadium down there in Newcastle. Newcastle Knights up against the West Tigers. Newcastle Knights, $1.45 favourites. West Tigers at $2.75. Crazy odds there for the West Tigers. Newcastle welcome back Daniel Saifidi in the reserves. He is a slim chance of playing. As for the West Tigers, Jacob Little's a chance. He's in the reserves as well. Everything else for the Tigers seems to be the same as last week against the Melbourne Storm. If I was the West Tigers, though, I would be putting Tyrone Peachey in the starting side at lock, to be honest with you. This is such a hard game for me to tip, because you look at the Knights. They beat the Roosters last week. It'd be a typical Knights Newcastle thing to do, right? Beat the Roosters last week and then lose to the Tigers. It'd be a typical Newcastle thing to do. As for the Tigers, they were brave against the Melbourne Storm last week, and they just fell short towards the back end of that game. But I'll tell you what, I'm going for another upset. I reckon the Tigers will win this. West Tigers will win. I tipped the Tigers to lose to Melbourne last week, and I thought they probably should have won that game. I think this game will be very exciting on Sunday afternoon. I'm actually going to go to the Tigers. I reckon the Tigers are going to beat the Knights. I'm going the Tigers. Tigers to win by 6. I'm going to go with a scoreline of I'm going to go 24 points to 18. I reckon first try scorer is going to be Jackson Hastings. Anytime try scorer is going to be Oliver Gildard. Tigers will beat the Knights on Sunday afternoon in a bit of an upset. Tigers to win by 6. Looking forward to that on Sunday afternoon. Now, the final game of round 1 ends on Sunday night, 6:15 p.m. They're at Stadium Australia. They're in Sydney. It is the Bulldogs and the Broncos. I don't even know which way this game's going to go. Broncos are $1.80 favourites. The Bulldogs at $2. The Bulldogs welcome back Tavita Pangai Jr. He will start in the back row. Also, Kyle Flanagan is in the reserves. I wish he'd play halfback. I really do. Everything else, Corey Waddell goes back to the bench as well, which doesn't surprise me. And everything else seems to be the same. As for the Broncos, Adam Reynolds is back. He is at halfback. Adam Reynolds' his first game at the club. That's going to be very interesting as well. Tessie New goes to fullback. Asako drops out into the reserves. What else we got here? Billy Walters goes to the bench. Kobe Harrington's also on the bench as well. Bulldogs and Broncos, they're at ANZ Stadium or Stadium Australia, whatever you want to call it nowadays. I like the Bulldogs maybe to start the game off well, but both teams last week didn't really have many points in them. Reynolds coming back makes the Broncos probably an 8 to 10 point better side. Bulldogs, Broncos, tough one. I reckon this is going to be a close game. I really do. I'm going to tip Brisbane. And I reckon Brisbane by 7. I reckon it's going to be a 6-point game. A couple minutes to go. Reynolds will kick a late field goal and win the game. So I'm going to go the Broncos by 7. I'm going to go with a scoreline of 17 points to 10. I'm going to go first try scorer to be, I reckon, Pangai Jr., first try scorer. Anytime try scorer to be, I reckon Tony Staggs will score for the Broncos as well. But guys, they're my tips for round 2 of the NRL. My tips in case you missed it. I went the Melbourne Storm 1-12. The Panthers 1-12. Roosters 1-12. Titans 1-12. Sharks 13+. Cowboys 1-12. West Tigers 1-12. And I went with the Broncos 1-12 as well. My specials of the weekend. I reckon the Sharks are absolute specials at Shark Park. Their first game at Shark Park. I reckon the Sharks are specials of the weekend. And I reckon the West Tigers are specials as well. So Sharks and Tigers are my specials of the weekend. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed my round 2 tips. If you did, make sure you go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. It's much appreciated. I really appreciate everyone who's watched my tipping video over the weekend and last week. And I hope you guys can all check out this week as well. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys later. And go the Cows.